To our live telecast of the Formula One Australian Grand Prix Series. We're coming to you live today from Suzuka in Japan, and we're here to try something a bit different today. We are covering for the next hour the Formula One final qualifying, and I'd like to welcome to the commentary box with me Trent Thomas. Welcome, Trent.
G'day Bernie, g'day viewers, afternoon everybody. It should be an interesting afternoon this afternoon. A new thing to try out.
Oh yeah, it certainly is, and just like real Formula One folks, it will be broken down into three segments. The first segment I think goes for 25 minutes, and you might be able to correct me here, Trent, and after that we will get the top, what is it?
Top 20. For the first 25 minutes, it's all drivers in. There'll be a 5-minute gap. Then we'll have a 15-minute session for the top 20 drivers, another 5-minute break, and then we'll have a 10-minute session for the top 10 drivers.
And for any drivers out there that have pre-qualified for this, because these guys have qualified all week, if you have pre-qualified, you better jump in, guys. We have 15 drivers out here at the moment ready to set the top 15 of the grid, and if you don't get here, you're going to miss out. So it could be quite an interesting day tomorrow, Trent.
Yeah, we've only... I think there's 29 drivers at a time, so technically half the field hasn't shown up yet for this session. They do have 25 minutes to get in. The session should kick off just under a minute, I believe, is when first quali will start, and we'll get going. And another 25 minutes after that to join the session and set a time to be able to move into Q2.
Yeah, that's right. So at the moment, the guys we have waiting to go on track, we have Sean Watts, Brian Vignoli, Joshua Agostini, Stephen Downs is here today, Scott Goodman, Brett Wilson from Redback Racing, Damien Smith, Aaron Lee's here, and we saw Aaron win Thursday night in the Star Mazda Australian Championship at Donington. Steve Jensen's joined us. Daniel Benefield is another name to keep an eye on. He's quite fast, and his F1 is his favourite car. David Pegler, Anthony Kernich is out there, AJ Bear, Brett Hender, and rounding out our 15 is Andrew Gaines.
Yeah, Daniel Benefield's definitely probably the driver to watch at the moment in this session. He spends a lot of time in the Formula One car, and he's going to be. I'd put my tip on him to take overall pole this afternoon.
Yeah, that's right, and for the guys out there that don't know about Daniel, he has his sights set on trying to qualify as a pro driver in iRacing so he can get into the World Formula One Championship, and that's his goal for this year, just to get a pro license. So keep a definite eye out for him today.
I'm pretty sure he's on his way successfully at the moment. He's pretty much on par to get that goal as well, I believe, from what I've been told. So good luck to Daniel in that regard.
Yeah, definitely, and he's sponsored by the Apex Racing Driving Academy, and Alex Simpson is one of his mentors. So as people may or may not know, Alex is actually in the Formula One. He's ranked probably about 10th in the world at this stage, and so Daniel's got some good company there to help him along his way.
Yeah, and the series itself is also actually sponsored by that Apex Racing Academy, so they've put themselves behind the series to try and help upcoming F1 drivers to make it and be quite successful in this car.
That's right, and this is a fixed series, and Alex Simpson's actually the guy behind giving them the race setup for this. And it's not just any race setup they put together, it's finely tuned, and it's a fantastic setup, and we must thank Alex for doing that for this great series. But we can see Daniel now coming around to start his first flying lap. He's starting out of 10th at the moment, and we'll keep an eye on him. I'll tell you what, Trent, these cars sound absolutely fantastic since they updated the sound packs on these cars.
Yeah, they absolutely scream. A lot of the cars now sound a lot better with the sound upgrades that they've done. This is one of them.
Yes, and we just lost Daniel. He's speared off into the fence there, so that's going to be one lap down. I'm not sure, as far as qualifying goes, do they actually get fast repairs?
Yes, I believe the no escape rule only comes into effect in the race itself. In qualifying, I believe they can escape as needed, and they should have unlimited tows and repairs available to them.
We can see Sean Watts out on the track at the moment, tucked right in behind his teammate there. That's probably Simon Downs. It is Simon Downs, and they're both racing for Emu Racing. So it's great to see them in this series, and their cars look fantastic in that livery.
Yeah, they look really good actually. Like they've got the old school Williams style livery on them. So yeah, it's a pretty good looking race car.
Oh, it certainly is. It definitely reminds me of the old school paint job. That one brings back memories of when I was quite a bit younger than I am now, let's put it that way. David Pegler has just spun.
So we've got Aaron Lee. He's first to set a competitive time so far in this session with a 1 minute 30.582.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what the times are. We can just see now Aaron's bailing. He set his fastest lap. He'll go back to the pits now and keep an eye on his monitors. Steve Jensen's also set. Oh, gee, look, that car. You should see this car, Trent. That car looks awesome. But he's also set his time for second at the moment with a 1:31.487.
I think I'm going to get a headache looking at that car, actually. It's quite a spectacle, that thing. Certainly won't miss him on the racetrack, that's for sure.
Yeah, a spectacle is one word for it, but a lot of work's gone into that car anyway. Scott Goodman for Redback Racing, he's qualified in third at the moment. We're expecting these times to tumble a lot because the gap at the moment from Aaron Lee, 1:35.82, Scott Goodman, 1:32.568.
Just as a form of reference, the fastest pre-qualifying time for today's session was a 1 minute 28.959, and that was set by Anthony Koenig. So Daniel Benefield might have a challenge here for that pole position, actually, because Benefield was second with the pre-qualifying time of 29.119, so there's about 0.2 of a second between them. So it should be a good battle between those two.
Certainly should, and Anthony Koenig has now taken provisional pole with a 1:31.38. So we'll see what Daniel has in store for him. He is out on the track at the moment. As we can see him on his flying lap now, he's currently sitting in 12th.
Actually, Daniel's car, the Apex Academy Racing car, that's I do like the livery on these cars too. I've seen them on a few cars now. It's just a nice, soft, good-looking sort of car. It's not in your face or anything like that. It's just a nice, attractive looking paint scheme. I think the colours work really well together.
It certainly does, and it also looks aggressive, and it also looks like it means business when it's out there on the track. So Daniel's coming around now into the final chicane, and we'll see what sort of time he gets here.
I must say, I actually threw this car around the track earlier in the week for the testing sessions that they had open, and it's really quite difficult to find the braking markers in this car. Like it just stops so quickly that you're either braking too late or you're braking way too early, which is the trouble I found. And I was way off the pace of these guys, so full credit to them and the speeds that these guys can actually do around this track.
Yeah, well, Daniel's just throwing down the gauntlet with a 1:29.625, followed very closely now by Anthony Koenig. His fastest time is a 1:29.954. In third at the moment, we have Aaron Lee with a 1:35.82 as he's coming across the line now. We'll see if he can improve on that. And that lap didn't count, so he's probably had an off track there somewhere. Steve Jensen sitting in fourth at the moment with a 1:38.59, and our top five is AJ Bear with a 1:31.327.
I'm going to talk about liveries yet again. Aaron Lee's car, the Redback Racing car, I don't think I've seen or taken much notice of the Redback livery on the F1 cars before. And as all the Redback cars, they really love the effect of the I don't even know what you call it, that red and black. It's like a scaly sort of image in it. And Aaron just crashed into the wall. But I really like the look of that car.
Yeah, and the paint job of that car was done by Clifford Chapman. He's a member of Redback Racing, and he does a lot of the paint schemes for that team, and he's doing a fantastic job. And that car does look really nice. AJ car though, it looks like a zebra. It's quite effective.
It's got that bit of a camo style effect happening. It's very it's a very attractive looking car, that one too. Just simple, black and white, but certainly pulls your eye towards it.
It certainly does. And at the moment, guys, Daniel Benefield's in the pits. We can see now Anthony Kernich. He's had a look. He's got to improve by 0.3 of a second. Although, really the goal of these guys is to probably just get in the top 16, and at the moment all of them should go through to stage 2, and like all Formula 1, the business end's going to be Q3.
Yeah, that's true. They'll just sort of be out there just setting laps, getting used to the car and the track conditions. They should be the same as what they've been all through pre-quali, so nothing should be new to them. As you mentioned at the start of the broadcast, it is a fixed setup, so they'll just be getting used to the car and the track. I've found that Formula cars tend to take a few laps to sort of get up to cruise speed, just as you find the limits of the grip and get the confidence in the downforce. So when you throw it into a corner, it is actually going to stick, because you're sort of throwing it in quicker than it really should. It doesn't really, the tyres seem to exceed physics when you've got downforce on the car, so it can be a little daunting, and some people find it hard to get on top of the fact that they have downforce. And you just got to have that utmost trust in the car that it will actually stick to the road.
Yeah, well, a few drivers out there seem to be having trouble with that at the moment. Sean Watts just went into the fence exiting a corner there, and Anthony had to jump on the brakes to avoid that. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on, folks, is how easy these cars are to spin if they're too aggressive on that accelerator.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to drive the race setup, but I did drive the qualifying setup earlier in the week, and I found it personally, for my driving style, it was a little bit loose at times, and you really did have to be careful with it. But other people have said that there's a bit of understeering, so I guess it just depends on the driver. But either way, just because it's fixed setup doesn't mean it's going to be easy to drive. It is still a Formula 1 car, and they are a challenge to drive fast.
They certainly are. I think it's the Formula 1 car's a bit of a young man's car. You've got to have really good reflexes, and you've got to have a high heart rate too, or be able to deal with a high heart rate. But we can see now Anthony Kernich is starting his flying lap. The time he needs to beat is a 1:29.500 set by Daniel Benefield at this stage.
Aaron Lee's just bettered his time, so he's just gone 1:30 flat, which is half of a tenth a second behind Anthony Kernich's current time. So he's lowered his best by half a second on that last lap. Yeah,
so that's another guy to keep an eye on. We know Aaron is fast, especially we saw him in the Star Mazda Thursday night win that race, and it's going to be interesting to see. And it looks like the speed so far is translated into this Formula 1.
Yeah, Aaron absolutely dominated that race at Donington on Thursday night. He was quickest in both qualifying sessions, and he basically led that race from start to finish, and ended up with quite a large gap at the front, which we don't usually see in that series. Such large gaps between first and second spot. So yeah, I think that speed is definitely translating into the Formula 1 car at the moment. Yeah, it
definitely is. Anthony had something go wrong with that lap. He started another flying lap, but his time was only a 1:30.747, and it looked like he might have had some trouble coming into that final sweeper, coming into the chicane. But you can see now Aaron Lee at the moment. I'm just trying to see where he's at. These camera angles are getting me. So yeah, he has not improved on his time either. And as he starts another flying lap. And this is pretty much open qualifying at the moment, folks. So as we can see, Steve Jensen now just sitting in behind Aaron. No doubt these guys would be looking at trying to benefit from slipstreams to help them get a faster time around here.
Yeah, these downforce cars do create a big hole in the air, and they can create a pretty big draft. You'd be pretty brave to try it. It doesn't always work just trying to get a draft off the car in front, but sometimes it can work.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering what the trade-off is with that. If you come into a corner under the toe, I wonder how much wash you get from the or the lack of downforce in that cornering.
Yeah, and that's the trade-off that you have to sort of. You'll have obviously the toe that you get down the straight, but you also get that loss of downforce in the corners, which then makes your corner speed slower. So you might be quicker on the straights, but you could then potentially be faster on the corners. So yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
And Anthony Kernich, he's just taken provisional pole, a 1:29.466 compared to Daniel Benefield's 1:29.500. So what's that? That's a couple of thousandths of a second separating these guys?
Yeah, I think that's 35 hundredths of a second.
Either way, that's pretty close, isn't it?
Yeah, bugger all, basically.
Yeah, I don't think you'd... it's probably an eye blink in between these guys, and it's great to see these guys taking it to each other. Daniel's still sitting in the pits there, and I guess, you know, how long have we been going now for? About 15 minutes, so they've got about probably 10 minutes left in this session.
Yeah, about that. Been going for about 14 minutes now, so about 10 minutes. Yeah. It's a shame we don't have Andrew Smith. I think was another driver who was right up there with fast times in pre-quali. So yeah, it's a shame not to see him in this session, because it would have been pretty much a three-way battle at the top there with just a few hundreds between them. But that's not to say that Aaron Lee's not going to get up there too. He's obviously pretty quick. And, I think AJ Bear was another one that had a fairly decent pre-quali time as well.
Yeah, so just going through the whole field at the moment, folks. Anthony Kernich is on provisional pole, 1:29.466, followed by Daniel Benefield. Aaron Lee sitting in third. Steve Jensen fourth. AJ Baird sitting down there in fifth at the moment with a 1:30.644. Brett Wilson is sitting in sixth. Seventh is Sean Evans. Eighth, David Pegler. Ninth, Scott Goodman. Andrew Gaines is sitting in 10th at the moment. 11th is Sean Watts. Then we have Damien Smith, followed by Brett Hender, Brian Vignoli, Joshua Agostini is in 15th, and Stephen Downs is sitting down there in 16th at this stage. Having a look at the spread, I guess, from the fastest to the slowest. They're separated by about 3.3 seconds from first down to 16th at this stage.
And then if you have a look at from about 8th to 14th, so that's what, 7 spots, that's only covered by 0.4 of a second. So it's pretty tight in the mid to rear of the pack. Yeah, it's going to be tight for them guys. A tenth of a second here and there will make a difference between up to 4 or 5 spots.
Well, that's right. It doesn't take much to jump a lot of spots when it's that close, but this provisional pole at the moment is extremely close between Daniel Benefield and Anthony Kernich. It looks like Anthony's coming out again. He feels he can go quicker. It looks like Daniel's pretty happy with his time, and he's having a bit of a rest at the moment.
Yeah, probably just be watching the other guys and just see, maybe even watching their lines and see whether he might have a shortfall at some point on the track. You might watch the guys and see whether or not you can get any ideas about how he might take a corner a bit differently to try and get that extra little bit of time out of it. I know myself personally, that's something I've done in the past in different cars and series that I've run. Just look at the faster guys, you'll know I'll never match their pace, but you can certainly get an idea of if you're completely on the wrong line or the braking point, that sort of thing. It gives you an idea of where you can sort of make up a bit of extra time.
Yeah, that's right, and although you can't actually see the gears they're going, one technique I've always used is I watch from cockpit cam, which is this camera angle here, and you can actually, once you know what gear one of the drivers are doing, you can actually count up and down the gears and just work out what those faster drivers are taking these corners at, or what gear they're in anyway.
Yeah, it's not a perfect science, but you also do have their speed there that you can compare as well. So you might be heading into a corner, say 20 kilometres an hour slower than what they are, so you know that somewhere along that line, you know you can improve if they're going that much faster.
Yeah, exactly right. And what we'll do, folks, is we've just seen Scott Goodman going around there. He's sitting in 9th at the moment. What we'll do is we'll wait probably to the next session, and then we're going to jump into the cockpit view with Daniel or Anthony, doesn't matter which, they're both as fast as each other, and do a hot lap around Suzuka here, just to give you an idea how quick these cars are. While this session finishes, folks, tomorrow we have 2 other series running. We'll be broadcasting tomorrow from 12:45 with the Australian-New Zealand Skip Barber Championship, and we'll just take you through the final qualifying of that while this session winds down a little bit. So at the moment, this is the final. Now, the Australian-New Zealand Skip Barber Championship, they basically have qualified Tuesday night, Thursday night and this afternoon to set their fastest time. So pole position was taken out by David Buda. He will start from pole tomorrow. Ewa Noralampi is in 2nd, Troy Burgess 3rd, Troy Duffin 4th. Richard Craig's going to start out of 5th tomorrow. Kevin Willman 6th. 7th is Benjamin Smith. 8th, Mick Gray. Edward Levy is in 9th. 10th is Ben Seidel. Ben Conroy 11th. Stephen Davies will start out at 12th. Graham Morrill 13th. Jason Willman 14th. 15th is Darren Lesu. Then Ty Tran out of 16th, and 17th is Kurt Marr, followed by Nathan Connor. And we'll also have a wildcard entry of Anthony Mansorella. Will start out at 19th tomorrow. So the fastest time was a 2:22.816 in the Skip Barbers.
And as a comparison, obviously, that's some 50 odd seconds off the pace of these Formula 1 cars, so it's a pretty big difference in speed compared to the Skip Barbers of the Formula 1.
Yeah, well, the fastest of the Formula 1 is a 1:29.466 compared to the fastest in the Skippy 2:22.816. So, but you know, don't let the slower speeds fool you, folks. These guys, Ewan Noralampi and Troy Burgess, quite a lot of these guys, Benjamin Smith's in there, they really know how to have fantastic racing, which we witness every Monday night in the Monday Night Lights.
Yeah, I have to say, like, those Skip Barbers are not an easy car to drive. I actually think Formula 1 cars is a bit easier to drive because it has some downforce. The Skip Barber is very, very slippery, very touchy, so yeah, big kudos to those guys that run that car. It's not an easy car to drive, and the fact that they run them side by side, wheel to wheel, as often as they do, yeah, very big ups to them guys. Yeah,
definitely, and they do have a bit of, it looks like they've got downforce, put it that way, but they deliberately don't have a lot of downforce because they are a driver development car, so I really, for the Aussies out there, probably they're very similar to a Formula Ford in that regard. But at the moment we can see Josh Anderson is now coming out to post the time, so he's joined the field. He's sitting in 17th. We also have Craig Jones in, so that's 18th. So we will lose 2 drivers out of the initial qualifying.
Yeah, they've obviously only just realised that the session was on, so if they can get in set a time, and we'll see if not, whether or not they can get into the top part of the group to continue on to Q2.
That's right, so the guys that are on the cusp of cut-off at the moment would be Joshua Agostini. He's sitting in 15th at the moment. 16th, Stephen Downs. He's right on the bubble here. Josh Anderson, he's coming out to post the time. We'll see what he can do. And he's going to have to better 1:34.259, which I have no doubt he'll be able to do that, because he, as we've seen in the Star Mazdas, he can be very quick.
Yeah, Josh Anderson, he's usually up the front there in a lot of these open wheel races, so yeah, expect to see him improve as long as he can get the time set.
Yeah, that's right, and we've seen him, he is really quick. We've seen him in a number of different races. He's just unfortunately had a bit of bad luck in quite a few races I've seen where he's been involved in some sort of incident. But let's not put the mockers on him today, as he's coming around to start his first flying lap in the next couple of corners here.
Yeah, hopefully we didn't put the compost curse on him, because the pressure is on. He basically needs to nail this lap, because I don't think he'll have enough time for a second one.
That's right, and Craig Jones isn't even coming out, so it's pretty safe to say he probably won't get to qualify. But Josh Anderson's now starting his flying lap. We'll stay with this. The time he wants to beat is a 1:34.259 to make that cut-off for Q2.
I've just had word from race control that there will be nobody dropped from Q1. Every driver will go forward to Q2 at this stage.
Okay, that's great. They're now spoiling my build-up to suspense yet again.
They did. Just race control has just messaged me saying that there will be no one dropped from Q1. So those guys, Josh Anderson and Craig Jones, they get a bit of a lucky draw there, and they will be able to compete in the next qualifying session to improve their times. Yeah,
well, that'll definitely give them a get-out-of-jail card there. Craig's just coming out on the track now, as we can see Josh Anderson coming down towards the back straight here. We'll see what sort of time he can post anyway.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether he pushed or not, and whether he's just taking it easy just to set a time.
Yeah, I'd say he's just looking at probably a banker time at this stage. But it'll be interesting to see what he has, and as he flashes off the screen, it looks like he's got a bit of an internet issue there at the moment. But he's coming across the line now, and his time was a 1:33.419, and that sits him in 16th position at the moment.
Alright, race control has just called checkered flag for this session, so that's it. Whatever driver was on their lap, they had to finish that lap, and then they'll be in. So hopefully no one... Well, Josh is continuing on with his lap here, so I hope he realises the rules. He'll need to pull into the pits at the end of this lap.
Yeah, so having a look at our final positions for Q1, Anthony Kernich is in provisional pole with a 1:29.466. What's that, 3,500th of a second or something crazy. Daniel Benefield sitting in second. Aaron Lees 0.4 of a second down in third. Stephen Jensen has qualified fourth. AJ Bear fifth. Brett Wilson has improved to sixth. Seventh is Sean Evans. Eighth, David Pedler. Ninth is Scott Goodman. Brian Hender has qualified in 10th. 11th, Andrew Gaines, so he's improved. Sean Watts is sitting in 12th. Damien Smith 13th, Brian Vignoli 14th, 15th Joshua Agostini, Josh Anderson in 16th, 17th Stephen Downs, and Craig Jones in 18th hasn't set a time. But of course, after saying all that, in another couple of minutes it means nothing because they're going to go again.
Yes, so as I was saying, Josh Anderson and Craig Jones get a bit of a reprieve there and get to go out for Q2. Cut-off was 20 cars. As we said at the beginning of the broadcast, there's about half the field missing. A few guys obviously just realised and come in for the session, so they were lucky to make it in when they did. So it's unfortunate we didn't have the whole field here, but all cars now go through to Q2. So, and this for the next 15-minute session, we'll be cutting the field down to the top 10. So that's what we'll be looking at for us to get into Q3.
And unlike real Formula 1, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think their fastest time still stands, doesn't it, for Q2?
Yeah, that's correct. It's just due to iRacing restrictions. We have to keep going. The time that they set will stand, otherwise we'd have to be exiting servers and remaking new servers, and obviously that takes a lot of extra time and effort. So yeah, this is just the way that it has to be done. So you've already set a good time, so technically, say these top guys, they could almost sit out this next session. I'm sure they won't, but they could sit out this next session if that time is good enough to keep them in the top 10.
Yeah, so the guys right on the bubble at the moment is Scott Goodman in 9th. Then the ones that do, and Brett Hender, they're the ones on the bubble. The guys to keep an eye on in this session, they have to improve. Andrew Gaines, Sean Watts in 12th, Damien Smith 13th, Brian Vignoli 14th, 15th, Josh Agostini, Joshua Anderson needs to improve, Stephen Downs in 17th, and Craig Jones needs to set a time. Now looking at the amount of time they need to improve, it's not a huge amount really. They're within a second of each other pretty much, most of those drivers.
Yeah, it's very tight, especially that group at the end there. Just had race control offer just come up and go through any quick things before the next session starts. If you wanted to bring that up to the commentary box, Ben?
Yeah, definitely. We'll bring Matt up and see what he's got to say. Hi Matt, welcome to the commentary box. This is quite a spectacle out there, I must say, and we definitely enjoyed the last Q1 and can't wait to get going on Q2.
Yeah, great to see majority of the guys turn up. I think some people didn't get the memo that it was on today, but we'll move on from that. So I'm going to let another 2 drivers join in this session if someone was to come in, because we still have space for that 20. But if we go over into the higher into the 20s, then those guys won't get their chance, if you understand me.
Okay guys, the call's out there. If you've pre-qualified and you want to get in here, we have 2 positions going. You better jump in fast, because after that you're going to miss out and you'll be starting, I guess they're going to be starting towards the back of the grid.
The way I'm going to do it is, so if you didn't come in and set your time today, all the guys that have come in and set their qualifying time are good, and they'll be above you on the grid tomorrow, and then I'll go off their highest pre-qualifying time of the drivers that haven't turned up. So, say for example, a driver, Benjamin Smith, he might have been the fastest pre-qualifier time out of the guys that didn't show up, so he would be the next place car after Craig at this stage.
Okay, so we're just starting into Q2 now, I'm assuming. How long have the guys got to get into the top 10 in this session?
We have 15 minutes, so at 5:15 Q2 will come to an end, so 15 minutes.
Fantastic. Trent, was there anything you wanted to speak with Matt about while we got him up here?
I just wanted to thank him for coming up and give us that bit of information in between breaks, and good luck for the rest of the session, Matt, and we better let you get back to it and watch these guys make sure they're all following the rules.
Yeah, thanks guys. Good luck.
So folks, that was Matt Wilkins, the series organiser and race control. But it was great to have him pop up, wasn't it, Trent? Just to clarify a few things for us.
Yeah, it's good to get that bit of information from the race control point of view, organiser point of view, just to sort of understand exactly what it is that we're watching and what rules that they're following, so that sort of gives us an idea of what we're actually talking about as well.
Yeah, that's right, and this is something really unique to iRacing, I must say, and hats off to Matt for organising this style of qualifying. I haven't seen this used anywhere else in iRacing, so I think we might be onto one of the firsts here.
Yeah, definitely. When I first heard the idea from Matt, he was really excited about it, and I thought, honestly, it was a bit ambitious, but no, it worked. It worked at the last round for AGPS, and it's working again here. So I think last time the difference was that they actually qualified prior to the race, but obviously this time the opportunity came that we could run it similar to an actual Formula 1 weekend, where the guys will qualify on the Saturday and race on the Sunday. So yeah, it's great that we can do this, and to you, Bernie, also for being able to broadcast the qualifying session.
No, I enjoy this stuff, and another first, I think, not that I want to blow our trumpet, but having multiple races on the one day at the same track on the same weather, that's probably another first as well, which is thanks to the Oceania Formula Championship, which is the Skip Barbers. We've got the Open Star Mazdas out there, plus the F1s, and if there's any other categories out there that want to join in the fun, definitely drop either myself a line or Trent a line, and we'll see if we can get you to come in as well.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking to continue on next year, so it's a year-long championship. We don't run on the normal 4-season type rotation that iRacing runs on. It is going to be a year-long championship, and we'll have, as you said, the Skip Barbers, the Star Mazdas, and the Formula 1 cars running the same track. We're going to try and do it like a genuine race meeting over the weekends, so yeah, everyone can come along and watch. And as Bernie said, yeah, if there's anyone else who wants to get involved with that sort of format of racing set up, this is all broadcast as well by RRTV, so yeah, you can get your series on board with us all and see how we go running like even more series. It would be great to get the Australian sim racing community together and try and progress this fantastic e-sport that we all enjoy so much.
Yeah, exactly, and it's very exciting times for the Australian community as in the next coming year, because there's other organisers also putting together their own series, and that's just going to better all the community, and hopefully we can make this a world-class event. But at the moment we're just having a look. Daniel Benefield, he's snuck out. I don't know when he did come out, but he snatched pole with a 1:29.071, and is now cheekily sitting back in the pits.
Yeah, I must say I didn't do that either. I just looked up and saw his time. I'm like, oh, when did he do that one?
Yeah, that's right. We were keeping an eye on Josh Anderson there, trying to do better his time, and we missed that. So sorry, folks, but Daniel Benefield at the moment sitting in provisional pole. Anthony Kernich, though, what's the gap now? Let's bring this up. Oh, that's looking 0.3 of a second is the gap at the moment, so Daniel's really thrown down the gauntlet here.
Yeah, and Aaron Lee's improved his time by another 1/10 of a second as well, so he's encroached. I'm not sure if he has quite enough for these two at the top, but he's certainly going to push, that's for sure, to try and get up there with them. And we've had Martin Carroll join the session now, so he'll be another person that can set a time. And as Matt said earlier, that leaves one more spot available for someone to jump in this session to try and set a time for tomorrow's race.
Yeah, and they don't have a lot of time to do it, about 10 more minutes probably, maybe 12, but it's great to see Martin Carroll here join this session. Marty is quite a fast driver too, so he could spoil a party for a few of these guys this afternoon.
Yeah, he is. He's pretty quick in everything he sort of seems to jump in, so yeah, he could be a person to watch for a top 10 to move into Q3. Just looking at that top 10, looks like Andrew Gaines has made that improvement that he needed. he's got himself right on the bubble in 10th place at the moment. Now he's been knocked out by Josh Anderson, who's just gone at 31.5. So yeah, he's obviously found his groove now, and he's getting a lot quicker.
He certainly is, and the times are starting to tumble. Aaron Lee just did a 129.936, so he's broken in the 129s. He's got about 9/10 of a second to improve if he's wanting a chance with pole. Anthony Kernich, though, he's out here again now to respond to Daniel Benefield. Daniel's still sitting in the pits, and no doubt he will be keeping a close eye on Anthony. So let's jump in the cockpit with Anthony, and we'll do this lap with him. That was a lap with Anthony Kernich, and his time then was a 129.800. But sitting in that cockpit, Trent, it really shows how fast these cars are, and it's quite exhilarating. I can't imagine driving at that sort of speed.
I'm just watching this, and just the way he just keeps the car so stable under brakes and out of the corners is absolutely phenomenal. Like, as I mentioned earlier, like I drove this car a couple of laps around here, and when I was on the brakes, the car would just slip and slide all over the place. So he's got absolute car control happening at the moment.
Saying that, he just put it into the fence, and Redback Racing Team pirouetted as well. So, but yeah, that lap he did, 129.800, that was super smooth. And you could just see how much he has to manhandle that car to make it perform.
Yeah, it's I say this a lot. I actually it sounds silly, but I compare this car to the V8 supercar, and in the way you need to attack the driving and the way you need to drive the car, I feel is very similar. It's not. Obviously, there's a lot of downforce on this car, but just the way that you're sort of on the brake and on the throttle, you sort of really got to have that smoothness about it. You can't just jump on the loud pedal and expect it to go, otherwise you will spin the car around.
Yeah, and we're seeing quite a few guys doing that, just jumping on that loud pedal too aggressively there and finding themselves into the fence. So definitely very similar to the way you've got to coerce, I guess, a V8 supercar is probably the best word for it. But at the moment, having a look at our bubble, the top 10 will go through. At the moment, David Pegler's right on the cusp in 9th with a 131.506. And saying that, I was going to say Brett Hender was 10th, but he's just been pushed out by Andrew Gaines and the Quick Beds Formula 1 there, doing a great job in 10th position at the moment. Brett Hender is sitting in 11th, so those three drivers are right on the bubble at this stage.
Yeah, it's good to see Andrew get up there in 10th place. I'm actually shout out to Daniel Benefield, who's snuck his way into the commentary box. Daniel, how's your qualifying going at the moment?
I'm liking watching it, actually. It's pretty good.
We're watching a bit of a battle between yourself and Anthony Koenig there. You seem to go out and set a time and then park it up, and then he'll go out and set a time and park it up, and then a bit of backwards and forth going on there. Must be quite enjoyable having that sort of a time battle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just more getting myself into a habit more than anything else. I mean, I'm sort of 50-50 with Q2. If I do a good time, I'll probably sit out the rest of the session. Q3, I'll be out the whole time. Obviously, if I set a bad lap in Q2, I'll go out and do another run. But Q1, the plan was always just to do one run and then just sit out, wait for the track to clear up a bit. Mind you, with only 19 cars, it's pretty easy to find space, if I'm honest. But in my first run in Q2, as soon as I did a 29.2 on my first lap, and I was quite happy. Even if that was my best lap for that run, I was going to park it up until Q3, but I kept on with it and did a 29.0, which is actually better than my pre-qual time by about 0.04 of a second. So I was like, yep, I'm happy with that, and parked it up until Q3 starts.
Do you expect the times to come down any more than that, or do you think that's pretty close to the limit?
Well, Anthony did a 28.9 in pre-qual, and both of our optimals are 28.7s, 28.8s, like sort of mid to high 28. So I don't think it's a question of when, or rather a question of if one of us can actually get a lap together good enough to drop the time. Because I mean, as I said, that 29.0 is the best lap I've done all week.
Well done. And Bernie, do you have any questions for Daniel?
I was going to actually get Daniel to talk a lap around for the viewers there, to just to explain to our viewers how what sort of gear they're taking, that sort of thing. But instead of doing that, I'll let you off the hook, Daniel. Just tell us a bit about this car, if you don't mind, and how much effort it takes to get a quick time around here.
A lot. Obviously, loads of downforce, very, 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 very fast car. But more, I find, a bit of it is setup work. I mean, once you get to WCS level, I obviously sit in the team speak with the Apex Racing UK guys when they're doing practice for WCS, and like they're just continuously making like the smallest setup changes, trying to find a few hundredths of a second. But I mean, especially when you're a bit newer to the car, especially with this obviously being a fixed setup, it's more just driving, just laps, seat time. To get up to speed. I mean, I know Anthony did 79 laps in pre-qual, I did 80 laps in pre-qual. And I mean, we both improved over the 2 nights, over Thursday and Friday night. So, I mean, it's just practice really, and that's how you get most speed. Obviously, there's a threshold to a point where you really got to start playing with the setup. I mean, but that in reality, that's black stripe territory. That's Pro Series and WCS territory for that.
Yeah, so we know you've got aspirations to get to the WCS, and no doubt it's extremely competitive. So I guess to give the viewers some idea about preparing for that sort of thing, I guess how many hours a week would you be throwing yourself behind the wheel of one of these cars?
Well, lucky to answer that question, I do have my iRacing account linked up to Steam, which has my total time for the past 2 weeks, and that's 38 hours at this point. So what, 19, 20 hours a week I'm roughly putting in. Not all of it in the Grand Prix car, I'll admit. Like occasionally I drive something else just to drive something else, really. But really, most of it is in the Grand Prix. I mean, I did probably half an hour to an hour of practice at Spa for the Grand Prix, the iRacing Grand Prix series this week. Did about an hour before jumping into this.
Okay, well, it looks like Q2 has finished, Daniel, so we should let you get back down to your team because no doubt you want to get ready for Q3.
Yeah, okay. It's so much better. I mean, if it was the other way around, if Anthony had done the 29.0 and I did the 29.0, I probably wouldn't even come in here, to be honest. I'll be trying to figure out where I was going to find 4/10 of a second. But yeah, it's been good, guys, and I'll see you after quali.
No worries, Daniel. Thanks for popping in. So, folks, let's take you through the top 10. These will go through to Q3. Daniel Benefield with a 1:29.071. Anthony Kernich will be looking at bettering that time if you can in second. Aaron Lee's 0.8 of a second off pole position at the moment. Steve Jansen goes through. AJ Bear in fifth. Brett Wilson, Aaron Lee's teammate, goes through. We've got Sean Evans in 7th, 8th, Joshua Anderson 9th, David Pegler made it, and Andrew Gaines also made the cutoff of the top 10. The guys missing out in Q3 will be Martin Carroll, he qualified in 11th, Brian Hender in 12th, Scott Goodman in 13th, 14th was Sean Watts, 15th is Damien Smith, Brian Vignoli in 16th, 17th will be Joshua Agostini. Stephen Downs will start out of 18th tomorrow, and Craig Jones will be, well, he hasn't even set a time, so I'm not sure if he's running or if he's just viewing, but he's sitting in 19th at this stage, Trent.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Craig. I don't know if he just couldn't get a lap time set or what, but I'm assuming with what Matt was saying is that he'll start 19th, and anyone who didn't join the session will start after him. So at least he made it to the session today, so I'd imagine he'd be starting 19th tomorrow.
Yeah, fantastic. And for the viewers tomorrow, this is a precursor for tomorrow's big day of open wheeler racing. So it'll all be kicking off tomorrow afternoon at 12:45 when we'll start our coverage with the Australian New Zealand Skip Barber Championship. That will then be followed at 2:30 p.m. and we'll be covering the Open Star Mazda Australian Championship again at Suzuka. And then at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon we'll be kicking off the Formula One Australian Grand Prix Series, and this is what we're setting the grid for that race. And then of course for those guys that like their GT action, we'll be calling a GT race tomorrow night, probably starting at around about 6:30 at this stage, but I'll confirm the actual time tomorrow.
Yeah, certainly a busy day for RRTV tomorrow, covering 4 races over the course of the day, so a big day of motor racing on tomorrow.
It certainly is, and for all those guys that want to watch real world racing, just record the V8s and watch us live. It's much more fun. We enjoy it when we actually have people watching us, and we must thank all our viewers out there who are watching us live today. It's fantastic to have you on board.
Yeah, we've got a few viewers out there watching, and a few people commenting on the side of the video there, so a big shout out to those guys who are watching at the moment live. Yeah,
so hopefully they're all nice comments, or they're just having a discussion amongst themselves. But if you've got any questions there, folks, just put them in the comments, and we will see if Trent can and see if he can read them out, and we'll see if we can answer them.
Yeah, definitely. And we just got the green flag for Q3 now, so this will be the final session for those top 10 cars. So we spoke to Daniel Benefield just earlier, and he said he was basically going to spend the whole time on track in this 10-minute session, so we should see a fair bit of track activity.
Yeah, and Daniel's the first one out onto the track, followed by Aaron Lee. No doubt Aaron's going to try and shadow him to see if he can improve his time. The other person out at the moment, Stephen Jensen's going to have a crack at it. AJ Bear in his zebra coloured Formula One is out. We've got Sean Evans at the moment, Josh Anderson, David Pegler and Andrew Gaines are out. So everyone except for Brett Wilson is out trying to set a time. So I guess, Trent, looking at the times here, we would probably want to keep an eye on our top 4 guys at this stage. Daniel Benefield, Anthony Kernich, Aaron Lee and Steve Jansen would be probably they might be in a position to strike here, or maybe only the top two. What do you think?
Probably looking at probably the top two at this stage, just based off pre-quali times and the signs we've seen so far in their session. I'd say the top two are probably going to be the fight for pole, but I don't think from third onwards is set by any stretch of the imagination. I think we could see some shuffling around in those positions.
Yeah, so I'll keep an eye on this and try to bring you the action as we get it, folks. But Daniel Benefield's out here on his flying lap now. He's got absolutely nothing to lose here. He's got pole, but no doubt he'll want to try to reduce that time to really put the pressure on Anthony Kernich.
Well, I think in the back of his mind is going to be the fact that Anthony Kernich did have the fastest pre-qual time, which was at 1:28. The only driver to have done that, so I think that might be in the back of his mind. So he knows that Anthony can beat the time that he's set, so pressure could be on within himself to try and better his current time, because he knows Anthony can actually go faster.
We also know Daniel is highly competitive, so you know if he can keep that time and better it, he will, and he'll love nothing more than taking out pole position today if he can make it.
Yeah, Daniel's definitely not short of confidence, especially in this car and around this track. He's quite often mentioned how much he absolutely loves the Suzuka circuit, so he's pretty much right in his element at the moment.
Yeah, so he just said a 1:29.390 that time round. Pole position is 1:29.071 at this stage. We'll jump on and have a look at Anthony Kernich now. He'll be the next guy coming across the line. He's just coming up the back straight into the final couple of corners here, and then we'll get a time.
Yeah, pressure will be on Anthony at the moment. He's still quite a large gap, and Daniel has done a few times quicker than Anthony's current time, so pressure's on him here.
As he's coming across the line, he did a 1:29.954, so he's a good 9/10 off pole position at this stage. So he's got his work cut out for him. Aaron Lee sitting in third. His lap did not count, so he's going around for another flyer. Steve Jensen at the moment is sitting in fourth with a 1:33.15. AJ Bear is in fifth with a 1:31.633, followed by Sean Evans, then Brett Wilson. Josh Anderson's down there in eighth. David Pegler and Andrew Gaines rounds out our top 10 at this stage. So for this session, we've only got less than 5 minutes till the end of this session probably, and then we will know at least the top 19 of the grid for tomorrow's race here at Suzuka. But at the moment we can see Anthony Kernich going around. He's got quite a bit of work to do if he's going to take pole, and yeah, the pressure's on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the tyre warm-up phase is like on this car. I know Formula 1 tyres are extremely sensitive, so it may take a couple laps to get the tyres up to an optimal temperature and operating pressures and everything. So the first lap might not be the quickest lap, the second lap might be a better one to go on. Pretty sure they've only got enough fuel to do about 3 or 4 flying laps with this qualifying fixed setup. So they can't just stay out there and just keep lapping. They will have to come back in because they don't have enough fuel to just keep going. But yeah, less than 4.5 minutes to go in their session. Just see how he plays out.
That's right. Unfortunately for these guys, though, they do have unlimited tyres, unlike real-world Formula 1. So each time they do their 1 or 2 flying laps, they will get fresh tyres, and then they can go again. And also they can make adjustments to these cars as needed. As we can see, they can't. It's a fixed setup, so I'll take that back. Anthony Kernich comes across the line now. What sort of a time has he done? It looks like that time hadn't counted.
Yeah. We've just had one of our comments said that due to the cold weather that the tyres should be pretty grippy straight away, so that answers that question.
Fantastic, and it's good to have our viewers down there being able to give us that information, because as we see Aaron Lee now loop the car on the final corner there, and that's very unfortunate. But yeah, as I was going to say, I'm not sure about you, Trent, but I don't know that much about the Formula 1 car, and I'll admit it.
No, I'm the same. Also been told that the fuel load for the quali setup is 12 kilos. They measure fuel in Formula 1 in kilograms, not in litres. So we've got 12 kilos, which I'm told will give you an out lap plus 2 flying laps. So that's how much fuel they have on board.
Okay, fantastic. And Aaron's already jumped straight back out of the pits. He's feeling like at the moment he can improve on his time, and the pressure's on now with 2:46 left. The guys that are just coming out will probably get their warm up and one flying lap at this stage. So at the moment we can see Daniel Benefield coming across the line now. His time was a 1:29.642, so the times have dropped off quite a bit. Anthony Kernich, 1:29.589 was his last time through. Aaron Lee has improved. His fastest time now is a 1:29.962. So he's sitting in third at this stage. And then Steve Jensen hasn't set a time this in Q3. Neither has AJ Bear, Brett Wilson, David Pegler or Andrew Gaines. Their times have not counted at this stage. So at the moment, Trent, it's looking pretty good for Daniel Benefield here to retain pole position, and we'll just keep an eye on Anthony Kernich with 1:30 to go.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good at the moment. Pressure's definitely on Anthony to get this lap. So it's still a pretty big gap. 0.3 of a second is a lot to make up. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking about tenths of a second here and there, it quickly can mean a fairly large difference.
That's right, and it can all change at a blink of an eye. If Anthony does better that time and take pole, that's really going to put Daniel on the pressure seat with under a minute to go. We're just having a look now. Anthony's time was 1:29.554. We'll stay with him with 46 seconds to go. This will be his last flying lap here. He has to do it now.
Yeah, this is his last chance. He won't get around to start a new lap. Checkered flag will come out on this lap for him. So yeah, it's either now or never.
That's right, and if he can snatch pole on this lap, that is really going to annoy Daniel, because he won't have a right of reply here. So this is all for pole position now, folks.
Daniel is still on track, so he can still go faster himself. Again, this will be his last lap, but he's coming around to the last corner now. I don't think he'll cross it before the checkered flag will fly. He may just make it.
He made it right. Oh, I don't know if he did make it. I don't think he did.
Very, very close if he did. But, I wouldn't have wanted. I'm glad that it was iRacing that was taking care of that, because Matt's in race control and would have had to have decided whether or not he crossed that line on time or not there. So well, he's still pushing, so he must have made it just.
That's right, and Anthony's coming through now to complete his qualifying, and he's got to get a 1:29.071 as he's coming down to the finish line now. He's backed off pretty much, so he's given up on that lap.
He did go quicker. He did go a little bit quicker. He's brought the gap down to 0.2 of a second, but still, unfortunately, not quite enough to take pole.
So pole position, folks, goes to Daniel Benefield, as he knows that he's smoking up the tyres here in celebration, and he will start from pole position for tomorrow. Steve Jensen's just coming through now to finish his. He is sitting in fourth at the moment, and he's got a fair ways to make up, but it's looking good for him. I think he's the last car on track apart from Daniel Benefield. and he's pulled the pin. So that pretty much sums it up, folks. So let's take you through the full field of our top 19 for tomorrow's race. So congratulations to Daniel Benefield taking pole position with the 129.071, followed by Anthony Kernich in second. Aaron Lee will start out of third. Steve Jensen out of fourth. Fifth, Josh Anderson. So Josh has improved a heck of a lot there, Trent, to start out of fifth tomorrow. Sixth, AJ Bear. Seventh, Sean Evans. Eighth, Brett Wilson. David Pegler will start out of ninth. Andrew Gaines will start out of 10th position tomorrow. Marty Carroll is in 11th. Brian Hender will start out of 12th. Scott Goodman 13th. 14th is Sean Watts, followed by Damien Smith, then Brian Vignoli. Josh Agostini will start out as 17th tomorrow. Stephen Downs 18th and Craig Jones 19th. So Trent, what's your thoughts of calling the first, this is your first time at calling the F1 qualifying. How did you think it went?
Yeah, I think as well, pretty good. I haven't watched a lot of Formula One on iRacing, to be honest. I've obviously been in race control with Matt traditionally during the races in the past, so being up in the commentary box, it's a different element again when looking at these cars, and you really do need sort of, they're very quick, so you sort of blink and you do miss some of the action, as we completely missed Daniel setting that 29 flat. So yeah, it's a good series to be a part of, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right, and I'd be interested with all our live viewers out there. Leave a comment, tell us what you think of us covering this sort of format. Do you like it? Don't you like it? Let us know what you think so we can make this series better. But at the moment, let's bring Daniel Benefield up and get his word on taking out pole today. Hey Daniel, welcome back to the commentary box here at RRTV, and congratulations on taking pole. How confident were you that you could have held on to that in the final round today?
Well, I sort of need to be, considering I screwed up pretty much every lap in Q3. But yeah, I knew going into Q3 I wasn't the one under pressure, so I wasn't too worried, but I was worried at the same time. But yeah, 3/10 up in quali, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, it looked like none of the drivers out there could pretty much improve on their time, apart from Josh Anderson. He did get up to 5th. But the top three, looks like you guys, each driver did improve a little bit, but not enough to change the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I was pretty happy. I screwed up pretty much every lap. Yeah, in Q3, but obviously, as I said, in between Q2 and Q3, that time that I did in Q2 that eventually got me pole was the fastest lap I'd done all week. In fact, I think it's the fastest lap I've done this season, because I don't remember doing. I think my best from the iRacing Grand Prix series was a 29.1. So, yeah, so I was pretty happy with that lap. Yeah.
And you'll be happy to know that pole position lap, that flying lap, that awesome lap, went unnoticed. We did not get any of it, so that's how pro
good.
We are.
That's probably why it was so good, is because I wasn't on.
Yeah, you totally went under the radar, and we looked up on our screen and you'd set that time, and we just went, wow, we missed that totally. But sorry to all our viewers out there. But anyway, Daniel, I guess now it's less than 24 hours till the start of this race, so tell the viewers what you do to prepare. Are you going to go jogging around the lake, or how many push-ups do you do before you go to bed tonight?
No, I'll be doing a couple of full-length Spa Grand Prix in the iRacing Grand Prix series tonight.
Fair enough. Well, I guess that's a good workout. But anyway, Daniel, thanks for coming up. Thanks so much. Not thanks so much. Congratulations for taking pole position. And we look forward to seeing you on the track tomorrow.
Yeah, can you guys just not look at me again tomorrow? Because I feel like I'll do better then. No offense.
All right, Trent, you got that? We are not to look at our pole sitter tomorrow at all. I guess you're not even going to let us talk to you in corners or anything, are you?
It's funny. If it was the Star Mazda, I'd do it because I have commentated a race while driving in the Star Mazda, but I wouldn't do it in this car.
No, and we wouldn't expect it either because you'll have Anthony Kernich breathing down your neck tomorrow. So best of luck with that race.
Thank you. See you guys tomorrow.
Okay, Trent, should we bring up Matt Wilkins and get his thoughts on qualifying?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Hi Matt, welcome back to the commentary box. Fantastic putting this qualifying together. It was very exciting for Trent and I to call it. How did you find it, since this is only the second time you've tried this format?
Yeah, I personally think this format's definitely here to stay, and for our full-length series next year, this is going to be one of the features of that series. We'll take away from the race for a minute and just have a look at how this qualifying works, and on an iRacing point of view, at how good it is to change things up and a different style of qualifying instead of just going, oh, here you guys go, have 30 minutes and do as many laps as you can. It's just a little bit different. I think the drivers like a little bit of a fresh change.
Yeah, that's right. And it also makes it a lot more realistic for the guys as well as our viewers. And I must say we have had quite a number of viewers join us live today, and it's been fantastic to have that support behind your series. And hopefully they've found it enjoyable as well.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully they can find and get something out of watching these broadcasts, and hopefully they join us on iRacing next year for the full-length series. That would be great.
Yeah, that's right. This is this year's a bit of a feeler, isn't it? Running 3 rounds. This is the final round for this year, just to see how this series goes, so that you can take it into a full-length series next year. And I'll tell you what, I'm definitely looking forward to this next year. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. I'd just like to thank Apex for sponsoring our little series here, and is also Fanatic for helping out with the running costs of this series. Really appreciate it, and thanks to the commentators for taking their time to broadcast our qualifying today. Thanks, guys.
No problems at all. And for the viewers that are still out there, I'm going to queue up the pole lap now, and we're going to ride with Daniel Bannerfield as he sets the pole of a 129.071. So give me a moment while I queue this up, and you can at least catch the action that both Trent and I missed.
Just while you're doing that, Bernie, I'd just like to shout out for tomorrow's race sessions with the skip overs kicking off first. Tomorrow we've got the Open Star Mazda Australian Championship after that, and then the Formula 1 Grand Prix Series, obviously third in line in that broadcast tomorrow. For the Open Star Mazda Series, we are trialling a different qualifying format. Traditionally we've been done pre-qualifying sessions throughout the weeks leading up to the race. Tomorrow, however, we do have a 40-minute qualifying session before the race, so that's what we'll be using to set the grid. So it's not restricted to who can join tomorrow. So if you have previously raced with us and you haven't set a time during the week, don't stress, you can come along, and you've got 40 minutes to set a qualifying time immediately before the race tomorrow, and that qualifying session starts at 2:05 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Fantastic. And folks, now I've queued it up, so enjoy this lap. This is the pole lap of Daniel Bannerfield. He set a 129.071, so crank up your sound and enjoy. And of course we bloody well lost it. Excuse my language. So I'm sorry, folks. I don't think I can bring you it. I'll try it again. So we'll jump on the action. This is halfway through that lap at this stage, and we'll see if we can catch it for you. Oh man, I shouldn't have tried this. Okay, let's see it again. Sorry folks. Yeah, so we're having a look at the replay now, coming into turn 1, turn 2. So this was the fastest lap of today's qualifying. So there you go folks, that was the pole lap of a 1:29.071 set by Daniel Benefield earlier today. But anyway, Trent and Matt, I guess it's that time when we wrap up this broadcast. But for all our viewers out there, tomorrow join in all the action from 12:45 PM tomorrow afternoon. That's Australian Eastern Standard Time, when we will be broadcasting live the Australian New Zealand Skip Barber Championship. And I'd also like to thank Trent Thomas for coming up and co-commentating, as well as Matt Wilkins for putting on today's event. Is there any final thoughts you want to give before we go, Trent?
Sorry. Yeah, it was great to see this sort of format come into iRacing, trying something a bit different, as Matt touched on earlier. Anyone can just sort of have a series that just runs the same thing every time, but it's good to see Matt trying something a bit different with the qualifying format for this series, and I think it's pretty popular amongst the drivers, and I think even amongst the viewers themselves. So yeah, thanks to all the guys out there for watching the broadcast this afternoon, and we hope you enjoyed the qualifying.
Yeah, and on that note, I'd like to thank everyone for joining RRTV. As we close this broadcast, we'll leave you with pictures of our pole sitter, Daniel Benefield, and his Apex Racing Formula 1 car. So thank you very much for tuning in.